Hello and welcome to English Spark Official. I'm Zayden, joined as always by Alara.
Hey everyone! We're so excited about today's topic.
Hello and welcome to today's deep dive. We are so glad you are here with us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We have a really interesting topic today.
We really do. So think about trying to teach a very hard science subject, like how the human ear works.
Right. How all those tiny invisible parts inside your head move around to catch sound.
Exactly. It is very hard science. Now imagine trying to teach that hard science to someone who does not speak your language very well.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds like a huge problem.
It is a massive problem.
Yeah.
If you use just one wrong word, the person gets confused, they feel lost, and they stop listening.
Yeah, they just give up. And if you talk for too long without a break, their brain just gets too tired.
Right. They might even fall asleep. So how do you fix this? How do you keep someone listening and, actually learning for 25 whole minutes?
It sounds like a puzzle. I mean, teaching hard science is already hard.
Yeah.
And teaching a new language is also very hard. Doing both at the same time. That usually ends in a big mess.
It usually does. But today, we have the answer to that puzzle. We are going to look at a very special document.
Yes. Our source material today is a plan. In English, we often call a big detailed plan a blueprint.
A blueprint. Let's explain that word for a second.
Sure. A blueprint is like a map. It is a map for building something big and difficult, like a tall building or a long bridge.
Right. But today, our blueprint is not for a building. It is a map for building knowledge inside a person's head.
I love that idea. So where does this blueprint come from?
It comes from a show. The show is called English Spark Official. And this document is their plan for a new video.
And what is the video about?
Well, the title they planned is Basilar Membrane Secrets, Frequency Detection for Learners.
Oh, wow. Okay. I hear those words and I feel a little scared.
Me too. Basilar membrane, frequency detection. I mean, those are words for scientists in white coats.
Yeah, they really are. But the whole goal of this plan is to teach these exact science ideas to people who are just learning English.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to look at this blueprint very closely. We want to find its secrets.
We want to understand the hidden rules of how to teach well.
Yes. And more importantly, we want to see how humans actually learn things. So before we look at how they teach, we need to look at who is listening.
Right. You cannot build a bridge if you do not know where you are putting it.
Exactly. And you cannot build a lesson if you do not understand the listener's mind. So the plan says this show is for people at the A2 to B2 level.
Let's break that down. A2 to B2, this is, it's a way to measure language skills.
Right. So if you are at the A1 level, you are a total beginner.
Yeah, you only know how to say hello or ask for water or find a bathroom. You are just surviving.
Surviving, yeah. But A2 is the next step up. What does an A2 learner look like?
Well, at the A2 level, you can go to a store and buy food. You can talk a little bit about your job or your family.
Okay. But you are still thinking very hard, right?
Oh, absolutely. You are still translating every single word in your head. It takes a lot of energy just to speak or listen.
And B2 is higher than that. If you are B2, you can watch a movie and understand most of it.
Yeah, you can say how you feel. But you are still not an expert. You still make mistakes.
Right. Fast talking still confuses you. So the listener for this show is somewhere in the middle. Not a beginner, but not an expert.
That is a very hard place to be. I mean, the listener wants to learn interesting adult things like ear science.
Yeah, they are adults. They don't want to read baby books.
Right. But they do not have the vocabulary to read a real science book.
This brings up a really big problem that I see in this blueprint. The plan says the video must be 20 to 25 minutes long.
That is a long time.
I have to challenge this. 25 minutes is a huge amount of time to listen to a second language.
It really is.
I mean, I have tried to listen to podcasts in Spanish, and after 10 minutes, my brain physically hurts.
You feel actual pain.
Yes. I feel a heavy pain right behind my eyes. I lose my focus, and the words just sound like random noise.
Well, what you were describing is a real physical thing.
Really. It's not just me being lazy.
No, not at all. When you listen to your native language, your brain is just on autopilot. It is so easy. It uses almost zero energy.
Okay, that makes sense.
But when you listen to a new language, your brain has to work incredibly hard. It has to catch the sound, find the meaning, put the words in the right order.
And then try to understand the whole idea.
Exactly. Your brain is burning real sugar and oxygen to do all that work.
So my brain is literally running a marathon. No wonder my head hurts.
Exactly. And the people who wrote this blueprint, they know this fact. They know the learner will feel tired.
They know the brain wants to stop working after 10 minutes.
Right. And if the brain stops, the person learns nothing.
So if 25 minutes causes pain, why do it? Why not just make a short 5-minute video?
Because you cannot teach the science of the human ear in 5 minutes. Deep learning takes time.
Okay, that is true.
You need time to explain the big words, you need time to give examples, and the learner needs time to practice.
So the length of the video cannot change.
No. Instead, they have to change how the show feels. They have to design a show that gives the brain energy instead of just taking it away.
Wow. Okay, that is a cool way to look at it.
Yeah.
But how do you do that? How do you design a show that gives the brain energy?
Well, you start with the voices. You start with the people who are talking. The blueprint has very strict rules about the hosts.
Tell me about those rules.
The host must always be a man named Zayden and a woman named Alara,
Zayden and Alara. Okay.
and they must be 20 to 30 years old.
See, the age rule is really interesting to me. Why young adults? Why not an older, very smart professor?
Because of the feeling it creates.
Right, because when I think of science, I think of an older professor standing in a dark library.
Exactly. But the blueprint is fighting against that idea of the old library. The plan says Zayden and Alara must sound friendly, modern, and casual.
Casual. Let's explain casual. It means relaxed, right?
Yes. Casual means they are not wearing business suits. They are wearing comfortable shirts. They talk like normal people living today.
I want to use an analogy here to explain why this works. An analogy is when we compare two things to make an idea clearer.
Let's hear it.
I think about the difference between a dusty library and a warm coffee shop.
Oh, I like that.
Imagine you want to learn something new. You walk into a giant, quiet library. You sit down at a hard wooden table.
It sounds very serious.
It is. An old professor stands in front of you. He reads from a huge, thick book. Now, the information is correct. It is very smart.
What?
But the room is cold. You feel small. You feel afraid to make a mistake or ask a question.
And when you feel like that, your brain feels stress.
Yes.
When the brain feels stress, it builds a wall. It just stops taking in new information. The door closes.
The door closes. But now, imagine a different place. You walk into a bright, warm coffee shop.
It smells like coffee and sugar.
Yes. You sit down at a table with two smart friends, Zayden and Alara. They are your age, or close to it.
They are smiling.
Right, they are drinking coffee. They start telling you about a really cool science fact they just read. They are excited.
So how do you feel in the coffee shop?
You feel safe. You feel happy.
And because you feel safe, your brain drops the wall, the stress is gone, the door opens.
Right. And because you are not stressed, your brain has more energy to focus on the hard words.
Yes. The blueprint uses this coffee shop feeling to fight the brain pain we talked about earlier.
That is so smart. That is the core psychology of the blueprint.
It really is. And to make this coffee shop feeling seem real, the blueprint adds another strict rule.
What is it?
Zayden and Alara must share the talking time equally. It must be a balanced dialogue.
So one person cannot give a speech for 10 minutes straight.
No, absolutely not. They have to pass the conversation back and forth.
Yeah.
But the rule goes even further than that.
How so?
The plan forces them to use interruptions, reactions, and agreement.
See, this is where I struggle a little bit.
Why?
Well, in a school setting, interrupting is bad.
Mm-hmm.
My teachers always said, wait for the other person to finish before you speak.
Right. That is polite.
So why would a perfect teaching plan force the teachers to break the rules of polite conversation?
Because we have to ask what perfect really means. A perfect, clean speech with zero interruptions.
It sounds like a robot.
Yes. Or it sounds like someone reading the news on television. Real people do not talk like news reporters.
That is true. When you sit with your friends at the coffee shop, the conversation is messy.
It is very messy.
If my friend tells a crazy story, I do not wait in silence until they finish. I jump right into the middle of their sentence.
Exactly. You say, wow, or no way.
Right. I say, wait, really? That messiness is human.
And the blueprint forces Zayden and Alara to act human. When Zayden explains a hard science fact, Alara might interrupt him and say, wow, I did not know that.
That is great. It does two things. First, it breaks the heavy science into smaller, easier pieces.
Yes. And second, it models real English.
It models real English. Let's talk about that. The listener is not just learning about the ear, they are learning how real native speakers react to things.
They are learning the small sounds of conversation, the O's and ahs and wows.
That is so valuable for an A2 learner.
It is. And this ties into another rule about light humor. The blueprint requires small jokes and a smiling voice.
A smiling voice.
Yeah.
But they are not telling big jokes, right? It is not a comedy show.
No, not loud jokes, just a gentle happiness.
A gentle happiness. I like that a lot. When you hear someone smiling on a recording, you naturally smile back, even if you're sitting alone in your car.
And physically smiling releases chemicals in your brain.
Like dopamine.
Yes, dopamine. Dopamine makes you feel good, but it also acts like glue for your memory.
Glue for your memory, so it helps the words stick in your head.
Exactly. A brain with dopamine remembers facts much better than a bored, flat brain.
So by being young and casual and a little bit messy, the hosts are literally changing the chemistry inside the listener's brain.
They are making the brain ready to learn.
But, a happy brain is not enough.
What do you mean?
Well, if my fun, happy friends at the coffee shop start talking to me about quantum physics using giant words I have never heard,
Oh, right.
the dopamine will stop working, the smile will go away, I will just feel stupid.
Yes, the coffee shop feeling only works if you can actually understand the words.
Which brings us to the hardest part of teaching a new language, the vocabulary.
The words themselves. The blueprint has a very specific plan for this. We can call it the language staircase.
The language staircase. What is the rule for the staircase?
The rule is start with simple vocabulary, then gradually, step by step, increase the difficulty. Do not rush. Make the sentences clear and smooth.
I use a swimming pool analogy to understand this part.
A swimming pool. Okay, let's hear it.
Think about walking into a large swimming pool. You never start by jumping straight into the deep end if you are just learning how to swim.
No, that would be terrible.
The deep end is cold, it is dark, and it is dangerous. You will panic.
And panic is the exact opposite of learning.
So how do you get into the pool safely? You start at the stairs in the shallow end.
Right, where the water is very low.
Exactly. The water only touches your feet. It is warm. You can see the bottom. You feel completely safe.
So in language, the shallow end is simple words.
Yes. Zayden might start the show by saying, hello? Today we're going to talk about how you hear sounds.
Every single word in that sentence is simple. An A2 learner understands every word perfectly.
They feel safe in the water.
Then, Zayden and Lara take one step down the stairs. The water is up to their knees now.
So Zayden says, inside your ear there's a very special, tiny part.
Still very safe words, tiny part. Then they take another step. The water is at their waist.
This tiny part helps you hear high sounds and low sounds.
See? They are slowly walking the listener toward the deep science.
Yes, step by step. By the end of the show, they are swimming in the deep end. They are actually talking about frequency detection.
But the listener did not panic because they walked there slowly.
The staircase idea is perfect, but, I think it hides a real danger. What happens when you finally reach a really hard word? The blueprint says they must talk about the basilar membrane.
Right. That is the title of the video. You cannot hide from it.
You have to say it. But if I'm an English learner and I hear the word membrane, my brain just stops.
You hit a wall.
I hit a total wall. I do not know that word.
Yeah.
So usually what I do is pause the video.
Okay.
I pick up my phone, I open a dictionary app, and I type MEMBRANE. I read the meaning in my own native language, and then I go back and push play.
Well, the blueprint absolutely hates what you just described.
Really? Why?
The blueprint does not want you to pause.
Yeah.
And it definitely does not want you to use a dictionary.
But a dictionary gives me the exact meaning. A dictionary is a perfect tool for a learner.
Well,
why take my tool away?
Because a dictionary pulls you out of the world. Remember the coffee shop?
Yeah.
When you stop the video to look at your phone, you leave the coffee shop. You break the magic.
Oh, I see.
You turn a fun conversation with friends into a lonely math problem. It kills the energy. It kills the momentum.
Okay, that makes sense. But if I cannot use a dictionary, how do I learn the hard word?
The blueprint gives the hosts a strict rule. If you use a hard word, you must explain it immediately, using simple, natural conversation.
The explanation must be built right into the story.
Exactly. Let's test this. Let's do a demonstration of the blueprint right now.
Okay, I love a test.
Let's try to teach the science. Suppose I am Zayden and you are Lara. I want to explain what frequency detection is and how the basilar membrane does it.
Okay.
Now, if I try to do this without the blueprint rules, I might sound like this. The basilar membrane vibrates at different rates to facilitate frequency detection, allowing the auditory cortex to process sound.
Wow. If you say that to an A2 learner, they will turn off the show immediately.
Yeah, the words vibrate, facilitate, auditory cortex, those are all deep water words.
You just picked the listener up and threw him into the deep end of the pool.
I drowned the listener.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try again using the blueprint rules. I have to use simple words and explain the hard words naturally.
Right. Start in the shallow water.
Here we go. Today we are looking at something amazing inside your ear. It is a tiny part called the basilar membrane.
Now, as Alara, I must interrupt you. I have to explain that hard word using the rule.
Go ahead.
We'll say, wait, Zayden, membrane's a big word. Let's explain that. A membrane is just a very, very thin skin.
Oh, that's good.
Think about an onion. When you cut an onion, there is a thin, clear skin between the layers. That thin skin is a membrane.
Oh, no. As a
That's-
learner, I know what an onion is. I know what skin is. Now I have a clear picture in my head.
And you did not need a dictionary.
Exactly. I stayed in the coffee shop with you. Now let's keep going. Explain frequency.
Okay, so this thin skin in your ear helps you with frequency detection. Frequency is just a fancy word for how high or low a sound is.
Keep it simple.
Right. A little bird singing is a high frequency. A big, heavy truck driving by is a low frequency.
And detection.
A detection just means finding something. So frequency detection is just how your ear finds high sounds and low sounds.
Stop right there. Look at what we just did.
We explained complex inner ear physics using onions, birds, and trucks.
We built a bridge from things the learner already knows to things they do not know.
That is the genius of the language staircase. You use the simple words to explain the hard words.
Yes, you wrap the new knowledge safely inside old knowledge.
But wait, I see a new problem here.
What is it?
This all sounds beautiful. I am in the coffee shop. I understand all the words. I have pictures of onions and birds in my head. I finish the show. I feel smart, and I go to sleep.
Sounds great.
But the next morning, I wake up, and I cannot remember the word membrane. I cannot remember the word frequency.
Ah, yes. This is the tragedy of learning.
Why does this happen? The words were so simple. The explanation was so clear. Why did the knowledge just disappear overnight?
Because there is a massive difference between hearing and learning.
Really? What is the difference?
Hearing is a passive event. It just happens to you. Sound waves enter your ear and hit your brain. Your brain understands the meaning for a few seconds. But your brain is very, very efficient. It throws away most of the things you hear because it thinks they're not important for survival.
So hearing is just like water flowing through a pipe. It does not stay.
Right. To make the water stay, you have to capture it. You have to force the brain to build a permanent bridge.
You have to move from passive listening to active learning.
Exactly. And this brings us to section 4 of the blueprint. The plan calls for mandatory listening features.
Active learning features. I call this part the hidden workout.
The hidden workout. That is a great name for it. When you go to a gym, you lift heavy weights to build muscle, right?
Right.
The blueprint forces the listener to do heavy lifting with their brain without them even realizing it.
So what is the first tool in this workout?
The first tool is repetition, saying the key phrases again and again.
Well, that makes sense. If you hear a word once, the brain throws it away.
But if you hear it 10 times in 20 minutes, the brain says, oh, this word keeps coming back. I need to save this in my long-term storage.
That is basic. But the next tool is much more interesting to me. The blueprint requires shadowing practice.
Shadowing?
Yes. The plan explicitly says Zayden and Alara must stop talking
Yeah.
and tell the listener, repeat after me.
Right, like a shadow. Think of a shadow on a sunny day.
Okay?
When you raise your hand, your shadow raises its hand. It does exactly what you do.
So in language learning, shadowing means the teacher says a sentence and you immediately say the sentence out loud, like
Oh.
their shadow.
Exactly.
Well, I am going to push back on this rule hard.
Why?
Let's imagine the real world. A learner is driving their car to work, or they're standing in their kitchen washing dishes.
Okay, they are alone.
They're completely alone. They're listening to a podcast. Suddenly, Zayden says, repeat after me, the thin membrane.
Right.
Why should the listener talk out loud to an empty room? It feels foolish. Feels like being a little child in school again. Why not just think the word quietly in my head?
That is a great question. But thinking the word quietly does not train your physical body.
My physical body.
Yes. Speaking a language is not just a mental exercise. It is a physical, athletic event.
Athletic, like running or jumping.
Yes. Think about the muscles in your face. Your jaw, your lips, your tongue, your throat. When you grow up speaking your native language, those muscles learn very specific habits. They learn exactly how to move to make your native sounds.
So my mouth knows the shape of my native words perfectly.
Exactly. But English has different sounds, the English slurth sound or the English R sound.
Right.
Your mouth has never made those shapes before. The muscles do not know how to do it. When you just listen to English, your ears are working, but your mouth muscles are doing nothing. They are asleep.
Oh, I see. I just think the word in my head. I am not training the muscles at all.
Exactly. When Zayden says, repeat after me, and you actually say it out loud in your car, your brain has to send electrical signals down into your face.
You have to force your lips and tongue into strange new shapes.
Yes, you are building muscle memory.
So shadowing creates a second path to the brain. I have the memory of hearing the word, and I also have the physical muscle memory of speaking the word.
Yes, you double the strength of the memory. You prove to your brain that the word is important because you spent physical energy to create it.
Even if it feels silly in an empty kitchen, it is a powerful workout for the brain.
Exactly. The blueprint also uses another active tool. It calls them listening focus cues.
What is a focus cue?
A focus cue is when Zayden or Alara says, now listen carefully to this next part, or pay close attention to what I say next.
Why do they need to announce it like that? Why not just say the important thing?
Because humans get distracted. Even in a short video, your mind will wander. You will think about what you are having for dinner.
Or you will look at a bird outside your window.
Right.
That's true. My mind wanders constantly.
A focus cue acts like a clap of the hands. It snaps you back to the present moment.
It wakes you up.
It tells your brain, turn on all your cameras and microphones right now. The next sentence is highly important.
It is a small mental push that forces you to be active again.
Yes. And the blueprint also mentions interactive questions.
How does that work? The listener cannot answer through the phone.
No, but the host will ask anyway. Alara might say, have you ever heard a very loud truck shake your windows?
And when she asks that, your brain automatically answers it, right?
Yes. Even if you don't speak out loud, your brain searches its memory. It thinks, yes, I remember a truck shaking my window last week.
You are suddenly part of the conversation. You are not a passive bucket catching water. You are an active participant.
It keeps that coffee shop feeling alive.
But there is one rule in this hidden workout section that surprised me the most. It might be the most important rule of all.
What is it?
The blueprint says there must be short pauses written naturally into the script. They cannot be fake computer pauses. They must be real silence.
Silence. Silence is one of the most powerful teaching tools in the world. And most teachers are terrified of it.
Why are they terrified? Usually, people who make podcasts or videos hate silence.
They do.
We are taught that silence means the show is broken. We call it dead air. We try to fill every single second with fast talking so people do not get bored.
That is exactly right. But the blueprint understands cognitive science. It understands how the brain sorts information.
Explain that to me. Why is silence good?
To explain why silence is gold, imagine you are standing in a small room. I have a basket full of heavy tennis balls.
Okay, I am ready.
I start throwing the balls at you, one after another, very fast, boom, boom, boom.
I try to catch the first one, but before I can hold it, the second one hits my chest. I drop them all. It is total chaos.
Yes. The tennis balls are new words. They are new ideas. When a native English speaker listens to English, they catch the balls easily because they are used to the speed.
But an A2 learner is trying to translate.
Right. They need time to look at the ball, realize it is a tennis ball, and put it safely in their pocket.
If the teacher talks fast, without stopping, the balls just hit me and fall to the floor. The new words just bounce right off my brain.
So what is the solution? I throw one tennis ball, you catch it, then I stop. I do absolutely nothing for one full second.
Oh, in that 1 second of silence, I can put the ball in my pocket safely. I can take a breath. I can hold my hands up, ready for the next throw.
Exactly. That 1 second of silence is the exact moment learning actually happens.
Wow.
When Zayden explains a hard idea, like how the membrane moves, he must stop. He might say, the membrane moves like a wave, and then silence.
1, 2.
During those 2 seconds, the listener's brain is racing. It translates membrane, it translates wave, it builds a picture of the ocean in their head.
The brain puts the idea into a safe box.
Yes. Then Zayden starts talking again.
If Zayden does not pause, the picture of the wave is destroyed by the next sentence.
Yes. The short pause is an act of deep respect for the listener's hard work. It gives the brain time to digest the food it just ate.
Yeah, it is beautiful. But the blueprint is very clever here. It says the pauses must sound natural.
Right.
How do you make silence sound natural and not like the audio just broke?
You use human reactions. Alara might say, that is incredible to think about. Just imagine that tiny wave in your ear. And then she leaves a pause.
It sounds like she is thinking.
Exactly. It gives the listener permission to think, too.
So let's look at all the pieces we have on the table right now.
Okay.
We have a young, friendly man and woman, Xaden and Alara. They talk casually, they interrupt each other, they laugh.
We have the language staircase, starting with easy words and explaining hard words using onions and birds.
We have the hidden workout, forcing the listener to build muscle memory by shadowing and giving them silent pauses to catch the tennis balls.
These are excellent pieces. They solve the problem of the brain getting tired, and they solve the problem of hard vocabulary.
But I see a new danger here.
What is that?
If you just take all these rules and throw them into a microphone, it'll be a giant mess.
Oh, definitely.
It'll be 25 minutes of random talking, random pauses, and random shadowing. A pile of good tools is not a house.
You are absolutely right. A pile of tools is just chaos. To make it work, you need an invisible frame to hold everything together. You need architecture.
This takes us to Section 5 of the blueprint, building the perfect flow, the hidden structure.
The blueprint provides a very strict step-by-step list for how the 25 minutes must be organized. It is 11 specific parts.
11 parts. Let's listen quickly. 1, the hook. 2, the greeting. 3, the intro. 4, core explanation.
5, deep dive explanation. 6, examples. 7, practice section.
8, recap. 9, assignment. 10, motivation. And 11, call to action.
When you read that list, how does it make you feel?
Honestly, it makes me feel exhausted. It sounds like a syllabus for a very boring university class. It sounds like a machine.
It is a machine, but the blueprint has one rule that saves everything. It is perhaps the most important rule for the entire production.
What does the plan say?
It says in bold letters, do not label sections explicitly.
What does that mean in real life?
It means Xaden and Alara can never say the names of the parts. Xaden can never say, welcome to part 4, the core explanation.
And Alara can never say, now it is time for part 7, our practice section.
Never. They must hide the machine. They must hide the structure.
The rule says everything must feel like a natural conversation.
Yes. The listener should never realize they are moving through a strict 11-part lesson. They should just feel like they are floating down a smooth river with their friends.
I want to use an analogy here to explain why hiding the structure is so important.
Okay, let's hear it.
I compare it to watching a great action movie.
An action movie, how does that connect?
When you go to a movie theater and watch a big action movie, you are just enjoying the story. You watch the fast car chases, you watch the quiet emotional scenes, you watch the big explosion at the end.
Right, you are just lost in the magic of the film. It feels natural.
But behind the camera, the director is using a strict structure. The director knows they cannot have explosions for 2 hours straight.
No, the audience would get exhausted, their ears would ring.
Exactly. So the director designs a rhythm. 10 minutes of fast action, followed by 5 minutes of quiet talking so the audience can rest.
Then a mystery scene. Then more action.
It is a designed emotional roller coaster.
It controls the energy.
Right. But if the movie screen suddenly went black and white text appeared that said, Scene 4, quiet talking so you can rest, the magic would be destroyed.
The movie would feel like a science experiment.
That is a brilliant way to explain it. The 11 parts of our blueprint are the scenes of the action movie.
The listener does not know the scenes are changing, but the structure is secretly managing their brain energy.
Let's look at the first piece of the structure, the hook. So the very first thing the listener hears. Why is it called a hook?
Think of a metal hook used for catching fish. You put a shiny piece of food on the hook.
Right.
The fish sees the food, bites it, and you pull the fish into the boat. In a video, the hook is the first 10 seconds. It is a surprising question or a crazy fact that catches the listener's ear before they can turn the show off.
If the show starts with, hello, today is Tuesday, let's learn about ears, there is no hook. The fish just swims away.
Yes. A good hook for this show might be Alara saying, did you know there is a part of your ear that dances to music just like your feet do?
Ooh, that is shiny. I want to know about the dancing ear. The hook grabs me.
Then we move into the intro and core explanation. We already talked about how they use the language staircase for that part.
Right. Let's jump to part 6, the examples.
The blueprint has a specific rule for examples. It says the examples must come from daily life and real conversations.
Why daily life? We are teaching biology and physics. Why not use examples from a science laboratory?
Because a laboratory feels completely disconnected from the listener's real world.
What do you mean?
If you talk about science using glass tubes and microscopes, the listener thinks, well, this information belongs to scientists. It has nothing to do with my normal life.
It creates distance between the person and the idea.
Yes. To make the learning stick, you have to bring the science into the listener's kitchen or into their car. You have to connect the invisible science to things they touch every single day.
Give me an example of how Zayden and Alara would do this for frequency detection.
Okay. Instead of talking about sound wave measurements, Zayden might say, think about your kitchen blender.
A blender for making drinks.
Right. When you turn it on to make a smoothie, it makes a very loud, rough sound. Your kitchen table shakes. That heavy shaking sound is hitting your basilar membrane right now.
So now, the next time I make a smoothie in my kitchen, I will remember the membrane. The science is living in my house.
You took the abstract science and made it physical. That is how adults learn best.
Now let's look at the end of the hidden structure. After the examples and the practice, we have part 8, the recap.
A recap is a summary, a look back at what happened.
Why is this necessary? If they just learned it 10 minutes ago, why repeat it?
Because of the tennis balls we talked about earlier. In 25 minutes, you have thrown many tennis balls at the listener.
Even with pauses, the listener might have dropped a few of them.
Or they put a ball in a box, but they forgot where they put the box. The memory is not perfectly organized yet.
So the recap is a chance to organize the boxes.
Right. Zayden will say, okay, let's look at the big picture we painted today. He will quickly repeat the core ideas, the thin skin, the high and low sounds, the muscle memory.
By doing this quickly at the end, he ties all the loose pieces together with a string. He builds a solid package for the brain.
That makes the memory much easier to carry. But the next part is strange. Part 9, the assignment.
An assignment is homework. I have to say, I am an adult. I listen to audio to relax or learn on my own time. I hate homework. Why give the listener homework?
Because learning does not end when the video stops. If the listener does absolutely nothing until the next episode, the memory will slowly fade away.
So the assignment forces them to use the knowledge in the real world.
But again, remember the master rule. Hide the structure.
They cannot say, here is your homework.
Never. If Alara says the word homework, the listener will feel like a stressed child in school again.
So what does she do?
Instead, Alara gives a fun challenge. She might say, tomorrow, when you walk down the street, I want you to play a game.
A game. That sounds much better.
Right. Listen to the cars. Try to notice which car engine has a low frequency and which car horn has a high frequency. Think about the tiny wave moving in your ear.
Wow. That changes everything. It sounds like a secret mission, not boring homework. It turns the normal street into a science laboratory.
And every time they hear a car horn the next day, their brain practices the English word frequency. The learning continues for days.
That is brilliant. After the assignment, there's part 10. Motivation.
Motivation is crucial. Learning a language is hard. It is full of failure. The learner constantly feels like they are not good enough.
I know that feeling very well. You study for months, and then you cannot understand a simple question at a restaurant. It makes you want to quit forever.
The blueprint knows this emotional pain exists, so it requires the hosts to lift the listener up before saying goodbye.
What would they say?
Zayden will say something like, you did incredible work today. We talked about advanced biology, and you followed along in English. Your brain just did a heavy workout. You should be really proud of yourself.
Hearing that would feel like a warm hug. It validates the pain of the marathon we talked about in the beginning.
It tells the listener, yes, your brain hurts, but it hurts because you are growing stronger.
It leaves them with a positive emotional glow. They will associate the feeling of pride with the English Spark Show, which means they will come back for the next video.
Now, there is a final instruction attached to this hidden structure. It is a strict warning. The blueprint says, avoid long monologues.
We need to explore this. A monologue is when one single person talks for a long time without anyone else speaking.
Mono means one voice.
Why are monologues forbidden? I mean, some of the greatest teachers in the world give hour-long lectures. TED Talks are mostly monologues. Why are they bad for our listener?
TED Talks are great for native speakers who understand every single word. But let's go back to the brain energy. For an A2 learner, every word is a puzzle.
Right.
If one person speaks for 5 minutes without stopping, the rhythm becomes flat. The voice becomes a single straight line.
It is like driving on a straight, flat highway in the desert. You get highway hypnosis. Your eyes are open, but your brain falls asleep.
Exactly. When the rhythm is flat, the brain stops paying attention. The brain loves change. It loves surprises.
So when Zayden talks, the listener gets used to his deep voice. Just as the brain is about to fall asleep, Ilara jumps in with a higher voice.
The change in sound wakes the brain up.
So by forbidding monologues, the blueprint guarantees that the energy is constantly shifting back and forth. It forces the tennis game to continue.
It prevents the straight highway. It makes the conversation a winding road, which requires the driver to stay awake and alert.
Looking at all of this together, my perspective on teaching has completely shifted.
As
You know, when I normally listen to a great show with two fun hosts, I just think, wow, those two are naturally talented. They're just smart friends having a chat.
Right.
But looking at this blueprint, I realized that the natural chat is an illusion.
It is a very carefully crafted
I
illusion.
mean, it is a machine. Every laugh, every simple word, every pause, every explanation of an onion, it is all calculated.
It is a friendly, warm machine designed to put knowledge deeply into your brain while making you think you are just drinking coffee.
It's the science of teaching disguised as entertainment.
Exactly.
Okay, we are arriving at our own recap now. We need to tie our loose strings into a package.
Let's do it.
We started by looking at a huge problem. How do you teach complex ear biology to someone who barely speaks English and keep them focused for 25 minutes?
We discovered that you cannot just read a textbook. You must respect the physical energy of the brain.
So the blueprint changes the rules. First, they create a safe social space. They use Zayden and Ilara, young hosts who act like casual friends.
They interrupt, they laugh, they use light humor to create dopamine and remove stress.
Second, they use the language staircase. They do not drop the listener into the deep end. They start with simple words.
And when they must use a hard word, like membrane, they explain it immediately using real-world pictures, so the listener never has to pause and look at a dictionary.
Third, they use the hidden workout. Hearing is not learning, so they force the listener to be active.
They use shadowing to build muscle memory in the mouth. They use focus cues to wake the brain up.
And they use pure silence, short pauses, to give the brain time to put the heavy tennis balls into safe boxes.
Finally, they wrap all these tools around a hidden structure, 11 steps, like the scenes of an action movie.
A hook to start, daily life examples to make the science real, a secret homework assignment to keep the learning alive, and motivation to build pride.
And they hide the structure completely, so it just feels like a natural conversation. No monologues allowed.
But combining all these methods, they solve the puzzle. They can teach the physics of sound to anyone.
To anyone?
To you, the listener, right now, I want you to take a moment and think about your own experiences. We have all felt stupid in a classroom.
We have all tried to learn a new language or a new math skill and felt our brains shut down.
We usually blame ourselves. We say, I am not smart enough.
Yes, we blame ourselves. But this blueprint proves that learning is not about raw intelligence. Learning is a process of design.
If you struggle, if you feel tired, if the words bounce off your brain, maybe it is not your fault.
Maybe you are reading a dusty textbook in a cold library when you need a warm coffee shop.
Maybe your teacher is throwing tennis balls too fast without any silence.
It means you do not need to be a genius. You just need a better plan.
Exactly. The next time you actually learn something easily, the next time a hard topic suddenly makes perfect sense, stop and look at the invisible machine.
Ask yourself, what hidden rules are helping me learn right now? What invisible structure is managing my energy?
Once you see the blueprint, you can start building your own knowledge much faster.
Which leaves us with one final exciting thought.
Yes, we just saw how a strict set of rules, simple words, muscle memory, hidden structure can help a language learner master the deep biology of the inner ear.
It feels like a superpower.
So if this kind of hidden plan exists, what super difficult subject could you finally understand if you just found the right blueprint to guide you?
Think about it.
See you next time.